I'm live. Hello, you guys. It is I, Becca Lori Hector, here, back with being Becca Live. So you guys, I am not a fan of where my camera is. There it is. Okay. Oh, I'm wearing my Committed to Thriving shirt, you guys, today. Because I am. I'm committed to thriving. So welcome, you guys. Being Becca Live is my, excuse me while I get comfortable. I just did like an hour podcast interview, and so I'm all fidgety from focusing on that, and I didn't reset myself or anything. Anyway, so happy afternoon, Tuesday afternoon. I am here doing Be Becca Live, which is where a bunch of us kind of gather regularly on a weekly basis to chit chat what it's like to be an adult on the spectrum alive right now, and the challenges we face and how we get through them, and the things that we think about and the stuff we want to understand, and all of that really fun, magical stuffs. So that's what we're going to be doing here today. Hey, Stevie. Hey, Bernard. Hey, Belle. Welcome, you guys. First, I want to let you know how the snowstorm went. Hey, Morgan. I live in Colorado, for those of you who don't know. And if you caught Growing Gratitude on Sunday, you know that the big storm had arrived. Hey, Joe. And it did. We got somewhere between 36 to 42 inches. So for you folks out there in the UK, and I cannot do the math, it was like, just bottom hand, it was like that much snow, like that much, a little bigger than what you can see on the screen. So it was like about 3 feet worth of snow. Some of the drifts were a little taller, things like that. It was so much fun. I tried to go and do a snow angel, but it turns out the snow here is very light and fluffy and not heavy and wet like in New York. And so I kind of went through this big, and the snow went poof like this, and it all went in my coat and my face. And then the dogs came and attacked me because they didn't know what to do, and they were all licking the snow off my face. It was a very silly time. But I had a lot of fun with it. And the corrected cat tree arrived, and I put that up for the cats, and my big giant cats are happy now. And so that is going on. What else? What other news can I share with you? Oh, I already have people, can you believe this? Those of you who have taken the course, and those of you that are in the course, please share my joy when I tell you that I already have 2 people on the waiting list for the next cohort. For when you guys are done, for after that, people are waiting to take the course, and I could cry about it. In fact, I did cry about it yesterday because it makes me happy. When you create something in its rawness, like the course, like I did, having other people genuinely get something out of it, and then other people genuinely interested in getting what they got, it feels amazing. So even though I am someone who is almost always depressed, these are the kinds of things that keep me uplifted and keep me feeling good. So wanted to share that with you guys, because without you, I wouldn't have the courage to keep going, right? Knowing that it's working for you guys, knowing that you guys are still here supporting my work even after it, woof. I mean, just huge, you guys. So yes, I'm excited for them. I'm excited for the future SDLers too, because I hope that they can reclaim their lives and do something amazeballs with it. So yeah, that's already happening, which is exciting. And then what else have I got going on? Just little stuff here and there. I'm going to be starting work on, hopefully for April. I'd like it to be out for April. A continuing ed type seminar for those of you that have already taken the Self-Defined Living course. And of course, if you're in it, you can come join us there too. I don't care if you've taken it or not taken it. It's going to be a one and done seminar type thing on specific topics. And I think I want to tackle, I think I would like to tackle toxic people. We had some really good conversations about it. I'm talking through it a lot here on live stream, and I think it needs to be its own thing. Speaking of, you guys, yesterday I wrote the article. So I wrote our toxic people article. I took all of our things and I made it look pretty and blah, 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 blah. And I submitted it yesterday. So I sent it into a couple of places to see if I can get it published on a bigger scale. And if not, I will go to my local autism resources and get it published there. But I threw it out to the world. It is written. If any of you guys want to see the draft, I am happy to share that with you guys. just, comment or email me better so I can email it to you. Email me at info@beccalaurie.com or go through the contact page on my website, beccalaurie.com, and I'd be happy to share the draft with you, the unpublished draft. But I did put it together for us, and I hope that it did us justice in our conversations. So hopefully that will be out as well. So those things are happening. I think that's all the catch-up stuff that I have to do right now, that all the things that I wanted to remember to tell you. Yeah, I think that's it. Everything is the same on Ko-Fi Redbubble. I want to start playing with some other stuff, but not until I have the energy and spoons. So for now, I am going to stick to putting together some of these seminars, and I'm going to write some more of those tips articles for us. And hopefully I'll have some space and time to get started on the Nighttime Affirmations book, because I think that'll be something that'll be really fun for us to have. So that's all the business that I got to share with you for today. But let's talk about our topic. So, of course, up until yesterday, I don't know what I should talk about. What are we going to talk about? All I did was sit through a snowstorm, blah, blah, blah. And really, I didn't. And so when I'm not really doing a lot of things with my week. Last week, I just did a lot of preparing for the snowstorm and then a lot of sitting through the snowstorm. And so I didn't have anything like ripe to talk about. And then yesterday, as I was sort of sitting about and I looked through the old Being Becca's Live. Sometimes that gives me inspiration for an idea or something. And I was looking through that. And I decided that I want to continue, how in between and all the here and there, we've been talking about masking and the components of masking and why we mask and what makes up that masking profile and all of that shit. Oh, Birdie, hi. I got 36 to 42 inches we got here in Colorado. And let's see. So yeah, I want to talk more about masking. And I was just thinking about it and kind of perusing the thought in my head. And I do that a lot. So I want you guys to know that when I was in college, I was a philosophy major. I am a pensive human being. That's just what I do. I like to spend a lot of time in here and alone. And that means I spend time thinking about really deep things a lot. And so what I was sitting there thinking about, I was thinking about masking. And I was like, when I think about all the times that now, as I'm living an authentic life, all the times that I have to resort to masking, those times, why am I choosing it, right? And I started to think about the occasions when masking is most useful and where I use it and that kind of thing. And I started to think about some of your examples of when you use masking, right? In particular, CV, sorry to call you out, but you talk about the masking and in relation to like doctor's appointments and stuff like that, like important things, right? So we all have our own little, I want to say, triggers for masking. And so understand, I'm trying out this language. It's not perfected. I'm really still thinking about it. And a lot of these thoughts are exiting the mouth for the first time in this live stream. So please bear with me. But like, what is it? Is it that the masking is triggered? And if the masking is triggered, if it's a triggered response, does that mean that, hold on to your hats, masking is really just a trauma response, right? Just think about it, peruse the thought, let it kind of sit, right? Because if I think about it now, when I go into certain situations, there are some situations where the habit to mask is almost impossible to break. And if it's not a habit, then it's a conscious thought to mask. And when I really pinpointed those situations, the spaces where I feel triggered about it, I realized that they were places of a lot of trauma, like places where I just feel like I'm too vulnerable and too unsafe, and where previous things have gone really bad. And I think in those situations, the desire and the need to protect myself and the need to mask is almost, I can't fight it really. And I also know it's the better choice because I know all the other choices are a little bit more spoon steely, because I'm so good at masking now, and that kind of thing. But I really wanted to think about it like that, because if I think about it. So like I use the bank as an example all the time with you guys about how that's a place where I mask all the time because it's just easier to go into the bank and be perfect, tell them what it is they want to hear in the way that they want to hear it, all smiles and all of that lovely stuff. Get what you need and get out of that bank ASAP. Why? Because the lights are terrible, the smells are terrible, everything about the bank itself, the environment of the bank is uncomfortable. The other thing is when it comes to money, I get nervous. I get anxious. Anything involving money or people dealing with money. And that's part of that like governmental forms thing sneaks in there, that stuff. And so whenever I'm doing things where I feel like I need to be a proper adult like that, because of previous trauma where I wasn't validated or I wasn't valued or I wasn't taken seriously, I think I pop onto that mask, right? So doctor's office. Yep. I think I definitely have a version of masking that I do at the doctor's office. There is absolutely, especially because I don't like to disclose there. So I definitely mask at the doctor's office. I definitely mask at the bank, right? Or anytime I have to go into, like a government building or so like the DMV or any other kind of government building, a courthouse or anything like that. And the mask just boom, right? If I want to be taken seriously, if I want my value not to be questioned, I think I just put on the mask as a response to all the times I've not done that and had things go really terribly, right? Like the times I've disclosed in the doctor's office and had it go awful. And like the times that I've, been myself in governmental spaces and it wasn't approved or appreciated, and therefore I didn't get the things that I needed. Yes, Bernard. Bernard says, sounds like power structures encourage your masking. Yes, I think absolutely. The idea that somebody else has power over me or power over the thing that I'm trying to get done, right? Like, for example, if someone at the DMV doesn't want to file my paperwork for me or whatever, because I was difficult, right? They have power over that happening. Same thing at the bank. They can decide not to give me my money, right? It can become a bigger thing, right? And that power structure definitely creates that desire to just get in and out and let them know you're serious and and cover your tattoos and why is my hair green and all of those things definitely triggers the mask. And I think it's a trauma response though. And that's the piece, right? Yes, exactly, Bernard. They are already looking for reasons not to help. And they're always looking for something to be complicated or a way to complicate. That's how it feels anyway, right? It feels like they're already looking for reasons not to help. And if you do your autism authentically, right, and you are living authentically, chances are you're not going to do that great with them, right? Because they're going to look for reasons to call their manager, right? So in those situations, I feel like the world isn't ready for all of our autismness. And in those situations, I still feel the need to mask. And so when people ask me about dropping their masking or stopping masking and can you do it? And I always say yes, but it's still a skill set that you have and it's still a coping mechanism that can work for you in certain situations because inevitably, the best choice in any situation is to choose the choice that costs you less spoons. Hey, Sam. Hey, Nancy. Right. So what you want to do is, right, if it costs me less spoons to go into the bank and mask and get out than it does if I'm authentic in the bank. And there's also the possibility that if I'm authentic in the bank, I won't get what I need done. Right. It encourages the mask. It makes the mask slipping on. It makes the mask the right choice. But the creation of the mask, the creation of that coping mechanism of masking feels to me like it's still a trauma response, right? And I was able to be authentic in 80% or so of my life now because I've dealt with those traumas and I figured out other ways to handle it and ways to handle it as my authentic self, right? But to me, there's no better way to handle the bank than a mask. And I can't figure out any better way I can think of to get through it, right? It's like you just want to be taken seriously for those 5 minutes so that you can get in and get out, right? And so that's kind of where I'm at with masking. And when I really pare down the times that I still choose to mask, what I find are places where I still feel traumatized and where I still feel stigma and where I still feel stereotyped and where I still feel like I look like the only square peg in a round room. I am struggling with English. I am the only square peg in a room full of round pegs, right? And so, yeah, Stevie, I know. And Stevie says the old saying, you catch more bees with honey. And she's right, right? But more bees with honey than you do with vinegar, right? And so that sense, that saying, right? I want to say you catch more bees with masks than you do, right? I mean, in that sense, there are times when the mask helps us to get what we need out of a situation faster and using less spoons. And so I'm not discounting masking. I'm not saying it's a bad response. It just, I think its core is to be a trauma response. I think that's where it begins. It begins as a trauma response. And I want to understand that. I want to know, what are those really early traumas that we're experiencing? Are we experiencing emotional traumas first, psychological traumas, social traumas? What is happening for us first that the idea of masking occurs to so many of us, and that we then so many of us then go about life using it, right? So I want to figure that part. I want to understand it. And I do. Oh, Joe, you not heard that one? It is. It's you get more bees with honey than you do with vinegar. So that's the idea, is that if you're sweet and delicious to people, you get more of what you want. And that is certainly the case in the bank, I think. And so I don't know. I want your opinions, guys. Masking is self-preservation. Yes, Bernard, it is. It's a self-preservation. Oh, okay. So Sam says her current way of dealing with masking is to figure out first if people are safe, and then, right? Social traumas and social conditioning, Morgan says, it does sound right to me too. I feel like the core of it are these social traumas, right? These early social traumas, definitely somewhere in there. And I want to, to understand it. I want to unravel it a little bit. I want to be able to say, this is where masking comes from. This is why we do it. This is why it works. And this is why it's not a great choice, right? I want to have that full picture. I want to be able to write that article. And so I'm busy thinking about that. If you think that masking is a trauma response, if you have another opinion on the root cause of masking, the root beginnings of it, I'd like to know. I'd like to know your opinion on all this. I'd like to know your experiences. I also would love to know from you guys kind of what are the areas that you still get triggered to. Are there particular areas where that happens? If so, what are they? And are they rooted in trauma? This is what I want to know. This is what I'm on my whole big thing about today, because I'm pretty sure that it is. And I just want to be able to document it somewhere. All of this stuff is about documentation for me. I don't imagine that anytime in my lifetime things are going to change all that much. But what I'm hoping is to leave enough evidence behind, right, that things change for those who are behind us. So I think I want to know this. I want to know your opinion. I want to know your opinion of masking, because I think we need the whole picture. I want to know where it comes from, when we learn to use it, why we use it, and what places we continue to use it as adults and feel the need to use it as adults, even once we've committed to authentic living. I'm in. I want to know. I want to see your conversations. I want to be a part of the conversations. We're all talking. Yes, it's a trauma response. Yes, social conditioning. Sometimes masking can be quicker and save spoons, says Stevie, which is exactly my opinion as well. So let's think about it. Let's all kind of put it in the hopper for thinking about. And I look forward to your responses. Not just the folks that are here with me live and giving me their opinion, but those of you who catch it after the fact. I'd love your opinions in the comments. I'd love to get your opinions via email, whatever way you are comfortable. But let's continue this conversation. Let's see if we can't fully unravel masking and its root causes, because I'd really like to do that. I'd like to know what that is. So with that, I'm going to leave you with those thoughts. Go out into the world and be amazing. Share joy, create joy, and go buy yourself a Committed to Thriving t-shirt. And then I'll see you out and about on the interwebs. As always, your thumbs up and your thumbs down. Let me know if the content is what you want to be talking about. So please let me know through your thumbs up and thumbs down if I should continue talking about this stuff, as well as leave me comments wherever you are seeing this video. I promise to answer them. Or you can email me directly at info@beccalaurie.com. Of course, you can use the contact page on my website, beccalaurie.com. It comes directly to me. And while you're there, you can sign up for the free newsletter. Check out my YouTube, check out the Ko-Fi, check out the Redbubble store, check out everything. It's all on the website. Until then, let's keep thinking about it. Let's keep having this conversation. Throw it into our group if we need to, whatever we need to do. But I want to unravel masking. That's what I would like to do. Anyway, that's it for me today, you guys. I will see you next Tuesday for the next Being Becca Live. And of course, I'll be here on Sunday for Growing Gratitude. I hope to see you guys in both those places as well as out and about in the interwebs. Until then, have an amazing one. I'll see you guys. Bye.